Hey, everyone in the Dinks world. It's your old buddy, Jeff Horowitz. And this is Humpday Happy Hour with Dennis in the Know. This is your backstage pass for current trends, politics, and education in the dental world. It's live. Tonight, it's over a little glass of Pinot Grigio. Why? Because patience. That's why. Anyway, I am doing this show for, I don't know, how many times have we done this now? Let's see. Maybe 210 times. Pretty cool, huh? We've been doing 210 episodes already, and I'm kind of proud of that. We've been doing this to bring you the best information out there, honest, vetted information. I do it with some of my best friends in the industry, Dr. Chad Duplantis and Dr. Jennifer Bell. And as you know, we are all dentists, we are all business owners, and we are all educators. And do you guys know what our job is?
I believe it's to bring all of you into the...
No.
And
That's right.
JB gets the A on the finger motion. Just saying.
That's right.
It's nicely done. Nice. Were you ever a hand model?
No.
No. Tell him what he's won.
I should have been, though.
It's a brand new car. How you guys doing?
You just won a 72-piece stainless steel cooking set.
And a trip to the Ozarks.
I've always wanted to go to the Ozarks.
Me too. Especially since I've seen Ozark.
I know.
Yeah, you have seen the memes now, though, from people our age going, now I understand why they were so excited when they won a washer. Like, anyway.
Well, since we're kind of on the game show deal, has anybody watched Ryan Seacrest yet?
You're still on this Ryan Seacrest thing, aren't you?
I'm still pissed, man.
Has it gotten better for you? Like, how many more episodes have we watched since the last time we talked about
Last night was actually kind of funny because this guy did a fast pass and he got all of the letters, but he didn't realize what the fast pass was, so he would stop halfway through and Ryan's like, "Are you sure you don't want a few more letters?" And then he had no idea what.
I saw that. He's like, "You sure you don't want some more money?"
Yeah. And so finally he gets through all of it and he has no idea what it is. And Ryan Seacrest actually did make a funny. He goes, "All right, take a second because I don't want you to misread this. So read very slowly," because he had every freaking letter up there.
Yeah. I think Jenny might have a little crush on Ryan Seacrest, though. She's watched every single day this week.
Oh.
And literally, I can count the number of days we watch Wheel of Fortune in my household on one hand. So
we've got a new believer, folks. We've got a new believer.
Yeah, something's happening.
We're wheel watchers at the house. I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
We're wheel watchers at the house. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, I should be because Vanna's from North Myrtle Beach. You know?
Yeah, you should.
She comes back here all the time. She does great things for the community. But she's too skinny. I'm just gonna say it. There it is.
I was today years old when I figured out where Vanna was from.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Had no idea.
Yeah. She's very cool. She does come back to the area a lot and just been really down to earth. I haven't met her personally, but a lot of people I know have and said really just a great, great person.
Do you know her dentist?
No, because she really could use some work on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. So what's going on with you guys? Tell me, week's gotten any better? Things getting better? Sucky September? Still sucky? What's going on?
Everyone has COVID, so there's that going.
Yeah. Most of your like a lot of patients?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We have been pretty fortunate that way. Is it going around down there, Chad?
I mean, not that much. I mean, we're not having cancellations like we were a couple weeks ago. So
I will say it's tapering, but it was pretty peaky last week. We definitely had a lot of folks calling in and a few on Monday as well. So it's definitely upticking. Maybe that means we're going to have an easy winter. Like we're getting it all out of the way early. Maybe.
I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed.
And I've got my immunity for the winter, so I feel pretty good about that.
Right. Yeah. I got my cruise ship badge.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. Well, so can I tell this random story, Jeff?
Please.
Because I was down in Tampa on Friday. I was getting ready to lecture to an awesome group of dentists. We're talking about leveraging all your technology to make money for you, doing dentistry for patients, and like not just the traditional stuff of Crown and Bridge and stuff, but really thinking outside the box. And before I got started, this lady came up to me and she said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you that your bestie Jeff said hey." And I was like, "What?"
I saved that.
I know. And she said, "I was told to tell you that, but not tell you why." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird. Okay, thanks." And she said, "Oh no, see, I met Jeff last week on the cruise in the Mediterranean." And I said, "Well, that couldn't be more random if you had tried to string it all together and coordinate it as a trip." And she said, "I know, we're both sitting at the bar. He's so nice."
Imagine that.
And I said, "Oh, we're definitely talking about the same person." Like that was your identity. You know, I was like, maybe she's making it up. Maybe she envisions y'all are best friends in her head because she watches the show. And then she was like, "I met him at a bar." And I was like, "Oh, was he wearing a shirt with circles?" Because that was definitely him. And she said like really nice things about you. Really nice things about you.
There was a whole group of dentists.
That's what she said.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them that were on the trip, and they were pretty darn sick at the end there too.
Everyone's going down.
Yeah. But they were a really nice group, and so we got to talking, and you know, I knew they were dentists because I had already met the endodontist, and she was in that group, and so we're just talking, and then she's like, "Yeah, and I'm going to take a course with a doctor." We were talking about Invisalign. We're talking about we were talking about everything. I mean, honestly, Lord knows where it went. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm taking a course with Dr. Jennifer Bell next week." And I was like,
"My best friend."
I'm like, "Oh, really? Dr. Jennifer Bell,
sucks.
Huh?" And so then I started talking about the whole Dinks thing, and she's like, "Oh yeah, now I know." And so I said, "Okay, do not say a word. Just randomly go up to her and said, 'Hey, your bestie Jeff says hello.'"
It was
let her figure out how.
Yeah. But she's awesome, actually. And we're kind of been living some parallel lives. So it was really good to chat with her. We had some really great conversation at lunch and in between sessions of the course. So maybe you just found us another person to come into our besties fold, you know.
There you go.
She's of like mind, which was really
no, I enjoyed talking. Well, hell, I enjoy talking to everyone. That's like one of my favorite things to do. You know, Jenny hits that wall at about 9:30 or 10, and she's like, I mean, honestly, unless it's Ryan Seacrest, she's out. And and so, you know, there's live music, there's lots of people. I'm going to sit at the bar. That's my MO, you know, and I just met so many cool people and just had a lot of great conversations, and they were amongst them. Really nice group of dentists.
That's awesome. And random.
Yeah, so random.
Very random.
Stories that's like, hey, you know where things really get started? In the hot tub.
We're just all gonna unsubscribe now.
No, do you remember that when he came back from the first Aspire and he's like, where the conversation
I was really in that hot tub.
Yeah, JB was in the hot tub.
That's the party after the party.
There were like 40 or 50 people in that hot tub.
In all fairness, that was a big ass hot tub.
It was a big ass hot tub, and it was a lot of people in there. And it was also cold for Cancun in January, and so people were actually in the hot tub for survival.
Right. You're right.
It was like windy, and
my grandmother would have said that's where herpes always starts too.
Yeah, it's possible.
I was not wearing a hairpiece.
Yeah.
I can't rule anything out.
Yeah. So, no. You know, that's the thing, though. You get a bunch of dentists together, and really alcohol is the great equalizer because we're all so different. You know, I mean, we're all kind of, I think, somewhere on the spectrum, to be honest with you. And I don't know what it is. You get a little alcohol to a bunch of dentists, and it's like kumbaya. we just start collaborating and having a big time, and just don't form any partnerships out of that. That's
right. Yeah. Don't sign a contract.
Don't
That's
sign
the
any
takeaway from this
contracts.
message.
Oh man. All right. Well, that was pretty cool. I'm glad you told
How's your
that
building?
story.
Have you actually gone inside yet?
Yeah. I worked the first day on Monday inside the building. And not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed because I've put a lot of time and money and effort, and the building's not finished, and they put the floors down way too early, so they're already damaged to the point where they need to be replaced. And so it looks kind of like crap. And you work so hard towards something like that. You're getting your patients all excited, and it looks like a war zone in there because there's still a lot of building left to be built, and the floors look like garbage. But it's exciting to at least be in. And we're still waiting on some cabinetry to be installed, but it'll be good. It'll be great once everything's finished. But right now, it's hard to feel really great when you still don't have a place to put everything away, and the floors look like crap.
Right.
So sorry to be a downer. Well,
no. This is real TV.
Yeah.
Short of Judge Judy, this is what we have. So
yeah.
That's all the thing is that we're going through a remodel right now, and honestly, I think that it's taking forever, but in reality, we haven't really even started. I mean,
but forever is Jeff's barometer. So Jeff is the forever endpoint.
Yeah.
So until you hit that, you actually can't bitch at all.
I'm not bitching. I'm just saying,
I'm just setting the stage.
I'm just glad that we haven't started yet, because we're trying to make sure that all of our ducks are in a row before we start. Everything's lined up and everything's dated and set and everything.
It's cute how you think that.
Yeah.
We start next week, so let's see how it goes.
That is sweet.
It's cute, actually.
JB says cute. I say sweet. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, you
get my ass, okay? Seriously. I'm just trying to join in on this freaking conversation.
Yeah. It's
and
cute,
you two are,
we love you.
Well, he's been knee deep in a office reno for 16.2 years. I've been knee deep in a house reno now for over a year.
How's that cool?
Oddly enough, sent an email last week to the contractor going, we have construction fatigue. We need you to find an exit. Figure out a pathway forward to wrap this project up. And they were almost offended. And I said, no, we can't do this forever, guys. You can't live here.
Are you swimming in the pool yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
The snakes and the frogs and the couple buckets and some empty water bottles and some pine cones definitely are, but we are not.
That sucks because, literally in Texas, a pool project is 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like
we're a year in.
I don't even get it. I mean, granted, you're doing a lot more than a pool, but shit, a year plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for everyone to go home.
Are your kids just at the window
yeah. Christmas vacation, my dad keeps doing lines from the window. Are you going to fly us all in when it opens?
Yeah, exactly.
I've got your tidy whities ready, Dad.
All right, JB, give us some news.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Okay. Well, this week's news is going to be just a little bit different. We're very singularly focused, but I think it's really important for us to know. And this all actually tipped me off on a deep search today when I saw one of our good friends, Dr. Lynn Towell, posted on his group's page, which I'm a member of, called Raving Patients. And he posted something which we'll kind of get back to in a minute. And I thought, gee, I wonder what the story is behind all of this change in regulation, et cetera. And I kind of got into a bit of a rabbit hole. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. So in August of this year, the FTC did come out with some pretty clear language on reviews. And we haven't really talked about it. And frankly, to be totally transparent with you, it didn't really hit my radar. We did talk about the FTC's ruling on non-competes, but we didn't really dive into the reviews. And why wouldn't we? Because so many of us as private practitioners sort of live and die or get our feelings hurt or have to deal with the agony and emotional distress of a negative review. And how do we manage that? Do we respond? Do we not respond? Knowing that we're parts of the community and we want to have a good forward-facing presence online. And so the FTC did come out with some additional language in August of this year about online reviews. And there definitely are a few things that are going to impact dentists that I think would be really important for us to discuss. First, they definitely came down pretty hard on fake and false consumer reviews, customer testimonies, and celebrity testimonies. So if you're using mechanisms for false reviews or fake reviews, actual patients or reviews from patients that aren't actually patients of your office, celebrity endorsements from local celebrities that don't actually use your services, et cetera, or AI generated fake reviews, they're definitely going to start cracking down on that. The big one that I thought probably would impact the majority of our office would be buying positive and negative reviews. Now, I know you would think, are there really dentists out there paying people for reviews? And maybe not in the traditional sense. A patient comes in and you ask them for a positive review and they go home and hopefully provide that to you. But I've definitely seen, and we were even guilty of doing this probably 10 years ago, different giveaways and contests, et cetera, to get positive activity on your Google reviews. So maybe you say the first 15 people that leave us a 5-star review can be entered into a drawing for, movie tickets or something. We're not talking about a cruise. We're talking about little insignificant monetary contributions, but it's important for you to know that they're actually starting to crack down on that as well. So if that is a part of your marketing program and you are trying to drive review traffic through contests and any type of monetary contribution to patients to leave those reviews, that could be up to scrutiny from FTC, and they could smack down, I guess, some type of fine or shut your Google review service down. I have no idea. They were also a little bit more clear on review suppression. So you can't go after people who leave you reviews that you don't like. Certainly if someone's doing false reviews or posting something negative about your practice that is unfounded, they're not even a patient of record, an ex-employee, whatever that might happen to be, there is a mechanism to report it, to try to get Google to pull those down. But you can't technically go after someone who goes online and gives you a 1-star review because you made them take radiographs, for instance. And so, being mindful of the fact that we have to have this controlled space in which consumers do have the freedom to express their opinions about your services, whether you agree with it or not. I do know that the rules or the demeanor, I should say, on responding to those reviews has changed a little bit. Ensuring that you're HIPAA compliant, because there definitely have been a few individual dentists that have gotten smacked with significant fines for violating HIPAA rules when responding to reviews. So that's vitally important. But there is some activity coming back on responding to reviews in a collaborative, non-confrontational mechanism, maybe fact-finding mission, et cetera. Certainly you can do that without disclosing any HIPAA. And then also using fake social media indicators like bots, et cetera, to buy followers, influence on both social media platforms and Google. So I would encourage you to take a peek at it, particularly if you have a very robust marketing program in your practice where you are using a lot of these different activities to drive patient volume in, to drive growth and activity on the social platforms. You probably want to make sure that you've reviewed that ruling, which was in August of 2024, to make sure that you are in compliance with those particular rules and regulations. Not that you can't do it until you get caught, and then you may be either shut down or levied some significant fines. How did this come about today? Well, Dr. Lin Tao posted that Google is now flagging different accounts for potential fake and false reviews. So if there's some algorithm, and a lot of people were posting like, well, how do they know if it's a false review or a fake review? And there was some hypotheses about how they might be trying to determine that. I don't know if it's an exact science, probably not based on my observation of many other things within the Google review system. But they're putting this little disclaimer underneath accounts now if they suspect that you've either paid for or are filling your review system with a lot of fake reviews. So I think it's worth noting, certainly worth watching for in case that is one of your mechanisms for marketing. If you think you might be a potential target, you might want to cool that off. Use some of the trusted partners that are out there that are helping consumers drive consumer reviews back to patients' practices. And there are a lot of really great software services out there now that understand all these algorithms and go out and organically capture those reviews for practices so they can grow. And I think those are working really well for a lot of folks. But, I think it's worth a re-look at how you're running those marketing programs. The rules have changed. They certainly have changed since we started our practice about 15 years ago. And you don't want to be caught with fines on something quite so silly. And with that, that's the news.
It always amazes me how there's a lot of good in that, and there's also a lot of bad in that too. I'm never a fan of buying reviews. Let's put it that way. I'm a fan of encouraging reviews, but I'm never a fan of buying reviews. So I'm okay with not gifting people for their reviews. But I think that there's a lot of protection for the consumer, but not a lot of protection for the business. And you talked about like flagging reviews and stuff like that. We have a patient that blasted us on the review. Never heard of the guy. Never been a patient in our practice. There's another practice by a very similar name. Apparently he got called by that practice regarding a bill and was sent to collections. And I mean, I have all the proof that we've never seen this guy. I've flagged it time after time after time, and Google refuses to remove it. Yet they're very quick to come after us when we quote unquote do something that they perceive as wrong. So it's really BS, a lot of it, So
I agree.
There needs to be double-sided protection. It's as Lynn will tell you. And Lynn, if you all don't know Lynn Tao, please follow Lynn Tao. Go to Raving Patients. What a well.
Yeah, for sure.
And Lynn, we need to get Lynn back on the show. Lynn is really a very brilliant human being.
Agreed.
That. So that was a very enjoyable episode. So sorry, I'm done.
No, that's okay. All fair, I think. So. I think is it fair that maybe Chad, we should stop trading reviews. I'll stop putting those good reviews on yours.
Yeah.
And you stop putting those good reviews on my site.
There's only so many ways you can spell Jeff. It's starting to get a little obvious.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of reviews, I will tell you something. I only write a review when I'm really, really passionate about something. And you all know that a couple weeks ago, we were in Nashville for the College of Dentists deal. And we ended up going to Hall's Chop House, and I wrote a review. And when we were there, Ellen and I did a post. It was my dad's 81st birthday. So we did a post, and we were just doing a cheers or whatever. So this is going back a couple of weeks. I was like so honored today that Hall's dug back and did a Hump Day post and was like, this is what it's all about, and posted the picture that Ellen and I posted in the restaurant a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, you know what? That whole deal was such an amazing experience. Truly the best steak I've ever had in my life. And then you made it even better by reposting that today. I'm a customer for life,
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
I love stories like that. I just love the whole customer service thing. And we need to get Eric Rindler on here soon, but
who's that?
Yeah, who?
Eric Rindler. Intelibly.
I think he sounds very familiar.
Extraordinaire.
He is extraordinary.
Entrepreneur.
That guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So should I introduce him?
You should.
People need to hear Eric Rindler.
I should introduce him?
Yeah, yes. But real quick, Will Guidara, who actually ran 11 Madison Park, which was voted at one point the best restaurant in the entire world. He actually spoke at the Koi Symposium, gave us all books and talking about just taking just a regular Manhattan brasserie and, turning it into the best restaurant in the world. And really, it wasn't the food. Yes, the food was amazing, but it was really based on the customer experience. And so the book is great. I recommend it. But we're talking about marketing. So, and when you talked about a review like that about the restaurant, it just made me think about that. Look it up. And a lot of the story of The Bear, which is on FX, is based on Will Guidara's experience in bringing a restaurant from, just a regular old eatery to the best restaurant in the world. So with that, we're talking marketing. Chad,
I could go on for hours about this because
me
Jeff,
too.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
If you want to do something for your team, take them out to a nice dinner, show them what the customer experience is all about. It will do wonders for you. But anyways, without further ado, Jeff, my 81-year-old father would say, I can't walk and chew gum. I can't introduce a guest and bring them on stage at the same time.
I can be the bringer-upper, but I need my glasses for this.
The bringer-upper.
And perhaps a calculator.
So, in order to introduce our guest, I probably don't have to read, but I just found it phenomenal that our guest went to the best dental school in the United States. He went to University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. However, it's funny because as smart and as brilliant as he is, he obviously was not accepted into their perio program. So he had to travel further north to UMKC. Sorry, Eric. I just had to throw that one out there because I know that's not true. Eric continued in the classroom and completed his MBA from the McCombs School of Business at the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em horns.
Is that the Patrick McCombs School?
No, that would be Patrick Mahomes, and this would probably nowadays. It's genius because if you want to notice, my shirt is actually the University of Texas, which is, if you didn't notice, the #1 football team in the nation as of this week. So I just had to bring that up again. But Dr. Rindler, all kidding aside, is a truly fantastic periodontist. He's a brilliant mind. He's stepped away partially from clinical dentistry. He was wearing scrubs tonight because he plays a doctor on TV, but he has stepped away partially from clinical dentistry to pursue a dream in business. And that's really what he's here to talk to you about tonight. But Eric, it's always great to see you, brother.
Welcome back, man.
Look horns, everybody. This is our year.
And as Jennifer and I always say, at least it's not Alabama.
Yeah.
And it's a rebuilding year. We're still building. Wait till next year. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Did you see? We'll just talk sports for a minute. Why not? Did you see Tennessee is now going to charge next year a 10% talent fee on top of the ticket that's going to go to their NIL program? And then the QR codes on the helmets.
And you know what? The consumer will gladly pay it if they are a true volunteer fan.
That's there has to be a cap. There has to be a cap.
I agree.
I think
So,
It's like
it's really interesting what's going on.
Yeah.
But,
well, they'll forgo the crown to go to the Tennessee game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Eric, thank you for being here. Before we get started on talking about, kind of the meat of the presentation, if you will, tell us about your journey in dentistry.
Well, today, my journey started with a subepithelial connective tissue graft. Just want to show you I'm still doing something. So my journey in dentistry is pretty great. It started when I was a kid, and my next door neighbor, Dr. Bruton, who was, 60-something, I thought was my best friend, and I waited every day for him to get home from work so we could go play. And whether it was casting something in his basement or shooting guns in his basement or whatever he was the coolest guy ever. So my best friend as a kid was a dentist. And so,
where'd you grow up?
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just heard basement. I've never seen a basement in Dallas. So I'm just kind of curious what the hell's going on
pretty
here.
Much ruled out South Carolina. So
yeah. One day I'll show you why it was there. And it was only like this wide. It was only like 12 inches, but he had a little pulley system and he could take targets and then went from under in his basement, because it was a hill, under our house. And so it was really awesome. So anyway, University of Texas, and then went to dental school in San Antonio, where I was lucky enough to have mentors like Jim Summit. And so when it came time to apply to Perio, Jim told me, hey, you're going to go to Kansas City, where one of the fellows from Wilford Hall was running the program. And it was just fantastic. But then I came back to San Antonio and set up a sort of a different style practice. So I had my Perio practice, and Rick Schwartz, who's an endodontist, Rick finished school at the same time I did. He had been teaching at the school for 20 years in general dentistry. And then Blois Britton, who was an orthodontist, finished at the same time. And so we set up an interdisciplinary practice. And so although each of our practices, we each owned our specialty part of the practice, we all were in the same facility, no doors, and it was just great. So every time I saw a patient, I had somebody who was better at dentistry than I was looking over my shoulder, asking me why I'm doing what I'm doing. So in the process, I became pretty good at what I did, or at least became pretty good at justifying why I did it. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
So there's two things that I'll tell you, because I know both of those people very well. Rick Schwartz scared the hell out of me. Blois Britton was the biggest pushover in dentistry, but probably both of those are two of the most brilliant minds in endo and ortho that there are out there. And, so that tells you what kind of periodontist Eric is. But I
got to tell you a Schwartz story.
Okay.
So Rick and I's operatories are literally right next to each other. And I'm talking to a patient and I'm telling them about a connective tissue graft. And they said, yes, okay. And so I keep telling them and going into more detail. And I like to talk, right? And so I see Rick slides his chair out from his operatory and goes, Rindler, quit talking. They've already said they want the graft. You don't need to talk about it anymore. Just do it. And
just get them numb already.
That's
great lessons.
That's the Dr. Schwartz that I know. Yeah. And,
okay.
And one time in endo, he told me, he goes, I don't care what department you're in. It may be operative. You give half a carpule. In endo, we give at least one full carpule, sometimes two. Don't be afraid to give him anesthetic, son. I was like, yes, sir. So
make it count.
Yeah. So two brilliant minds. But so you do you still share the building with both Blois and Rick?
So you guys were talking about buildings. We sold our building. I sold my practice when I went back to business school. And although I lease a little space and I see just a few patients, and it just keep my skills there and the viewpoint of a dentist is good to have. So but you were talking about your building and how all the strain and pressures and that. But I know all y'all, and when I need like a little pickup, I call one of y'all, and you're instant good energy. So there's great things that are happening with that new building. And aren't you lucky you're going to a new building and you're remodeling your practice? It's just great stuff. And the house, how awesome is it that you're in a position where you need a bigger house?
You're exactly right.
And a cement pond. So it's a real privilege to get to do what we do, right?
It actually does look like a cement pond.
Yeah, truly.
We're going for more of the natural look.
Play a little Beverly Hillbillies.
That's exactly right.
So Perio clinical practice was just fantastic. And I lead our local study club, and it's really wonderful. I love doing that. But when I went back, I had this great idea to go to business school, right? Because we all talk about it, right? But I thought, all right, I'm not going to be one of those guys who talks about it. And I went back and did it. And it changed the way I look at everything. It really changed the way I look at clinical practice. And I'll tell you one thing, for y'all have sponsors on this program, right? Mm-hmm. And I learned the value of those sponsors. I was really proud when I went to business school that the sales reps who called on my office, they never got to see me. Jalissa up front was so good at blocking them, they weren't going to waste my time and come back and teach me what my competition's doing, what my customers want. What kind of an idiot was I that I didn't get these resources? I was in 3 or 4 offices a year. They're in 5 or 6 other offices every day. So I would tell you, make sure that you're letting those reps into your offices. It's a great resource, and talk to them. And they shouldn't be taking us to lunch. We should be taking them to lunch to learn about it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about my little tangent there.
You know what? I think that's a really good tangent to go off on, and we won't stay here for long, but to me, it's almost kind of embarrassing. And I had to have a talk with my team last week because I was at an event and this lady, I was like, well, you need to come by the office sometime. And she's like, I've been by 3 times and your office is guarded like Fort Knox. There's no way that she's like, they just leave a message for you. And so, I felt awful, because I really did want this person to come by, and I felt awful that they had been by 3 or 4 times. So, you're right. I think we do need to be a little bit more open-minded and a little bit more receptive, because the value of our vendors and suppliers is pretty vast, and it's a lot more than we would ever anticipate.
I'll put that in the words of Atlanta Dental, who says relationships matter. And 100%. They really do. It is the differentiator. To me, in business, relationships are the differentiator. Anybody can get information, but it's the people who have relationships that can leverage those into all kinds of other opportunities that maybe weren't even on the radar.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an easy thing. And you also remember, they don't want to sell. They're not worried about this sale. They're worried about the next sale. So they want to help you be busy, so you're buying more of their stuff. It's not this time they're trying to sell you something. And if they are, that's not the right rep. But you know who it is. You know the one who can create value for practice. Speaking of creating value for your practice, nice segue there.
Nice segue.
I was going to do the segue, and you beat me to it. I just about we thought of it at the same time, but okay, I'll let you do the segue.
Okay, I'll do it. So they're only there to create value for your practice. Jeff, do your line.
No, you just said I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it.
You do it.
All right. So here's the thing: is Eric obviously is somebody who is thinking of the bigger picture. And so Eric goes back to business school. We'll let you tell us this story. And, along the way, you have some entrepreneurial ideas. And one of them turns out to be a way to enhance the systems that we have in place of obtaining new patients, and how so many initial contacts are lost and for no good reason other than, we don't want to pay somebody to answer the phone on Friday. There's so many reasons dentists miss that first contact. We spend all this money on advertising, and we put all of our resources into advertising, and all we have to do is field the call. That's all we have to do, is field the call or the email inquiry or whatever it is, and just be ready to suck it up and run with it. And so, Eric, you had an incredible idea, which has really taken off. All 3 of us have used this product in our practices, and it's just amazing what it's done. But why don't you tell us about the idea and what it became and where it's going?
Yeah, it's thanks for the feedback, and thanks for being so supportive. It's nice helping y'all get more patients in your practice and then being appreciated for it. So what happened was, when I finished the MBA, I sat down and I used all those business tools to study the dental ecosystem. Okay. And what I recognized is, like we were talking about, is although we want to be busy, everybody else in the dental ecosystem needs us to be busy. Right? The implant company isn't selling any implants if you're not seeing a patient. You're not going to the COI center and taking expensive courses if you don't have revenue, right? Successful practices, people who are already making money, are going to those courses. It doesn't matter who it is, they need the dentist to be busy. So that was the first thing we recognized. The main pain point for pretty much everybody in the dental ecosystem is the empty dental chair. If there's not a patient in the chair, there's not money coming into the ecosystem. So the second thing that's happening currently in the timing of it is what we call B to C to B. It's business to consumer to business. We all see ads on television. We go to a sports game, you see the ads for dental consumer products. The easy one to think of is Invisalign, right? Millions of patients visit these consumer product companies, whether it's a toothpaste company, an aligner company, any dental company. For whatever reason, patients are ending up on these sites. Or dental organizations, maybe your insurance company, whatever it is, anywhere patients are ending up is where we want to have those appointments. So business to consumer business. Businesses are marketing to patients. Patients who value dentistry are going to their websites, and we've created the ability to get those patients from those websites into your practice. Okay, so but the problem is, for the most part, there's a disconnect between where the patients are going looking for dental care or looking to learn about dentistry and where the appointments are. So we have created a tool for the companies called Finder Connect, and then Finder connects to Intelibly for companies. But how do practices connect to Intelibly? How do practices connect to those partners who could be delivering patients to your practice? So we developed a schedule widget initially. All y'all use schedule widget, and we've recently released our integrated practice management software. And depending what PMS it is, practice management software, we can either read and write new patients into your schedule when you have openings. So we can read and see, oh, look, you have an opening from 9 to 10 today, and we can make that appointment available where patients are, and they can choose that. But we also have the same widget for the Schedule Connect, the integrated online scheduling that you can put on your website. Now, here's the thing. Why do we have websites? It's to get new patients into our practice. That's who goes to our websites. And so it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to remove the friction to make it easy for those patients to get into the practice. I just saw an interesting statistic. Hey, Chad, can I tell you how many patients scheduled into your practice through the Schedule Connect on your website?
Absolutely.
Last year, you had 118 patients came into your practice through our tool, right? So what we know is if you don't have the widget on your website, then it's, I don't know, a very small percent of the people who visit your website actually get into your practice. But you have the old tool that we've just upgraded. You have the request an appointment button, but we also see now that if you have the integrated online scheduling tool, we see 2 to 3 times the number of patients going into the practice. So in your case, that'd be, another 120 patients, another 240 patients actually scheduling into your practice. And it's a pretty big deal because when they come in, we're all looking to use technology, right? There's all this talk about AI and all that, but what we really ought to be talking about is process automation. If anybody else wants to turn to talk, just let me know. But
this is great. Keep going, please.
When you're looking at the technology to bring in your practice, do you really know what you're evaluating? So here's what the 3 things to look at, right? I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Capacity enhancements. Can the people you have in your office do more? Because we don't want to get rid of your employees. We just want to make it so it's easier for them to do your job. So if patients are using our tool to schedule online, that means your staff has more time to do other stuff. A new patient wanting to schedule in your office by the phone, it's a 10 to 15 minute negotiation over the schedule. But if you have integrated online scheduling, those patients are going to choose one of the times that you have available. And they're going to be happy and feel fortunate to have found a time because they don't want to haggle. I mean, when was the last time you called an airline to book your flight or a restaurant? You want to do it online. So capacity, you want to make it so your staff time is used more efficiently. You want to improve the operational impact, right? So in this case, You want to make it so things run smoother in your practice, or people are having better experiences. And so us to think as the patient doesn't want to call your office. Most of those calls come in. We see people scheduled during the day, but I looked at one of our clients' practices. Sunday, he had a patient scheduled 11 o'clock on Sunday night for a new patient exam. And then he had another one at 5:30 the next morning, right? So nobody was in the office. And those two patients, we all think we want to make it easy for our patients to get in, right? So the first thing is capacity for your staff, make it easier for them, operational improvements. And the final one that I actually think is the biggest thing, who has technology in their practice of you three? Do you think it makes your practice kind of special that y'all are current and advanced? So the first way somebody can know that your practice, right, your differentiation of being current, using advanced technology, that differentiation, your strategic advantage needs to happen before the patient ever shows up at your office. It's reinforced by what happens in the practice, and then whatever the message is that you want to reinforce when they leave. And technology, right, is your differentiator, but you're also these nice, kind people. So you want to make it easy for people to be in and to know you're technologically advanced. You want to have the technology in there. But the other thing is your high touch, high feel. So you want to leave with that personal contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you don't want technology, maybe you send the next appointment notification that they can easily add, but you've got to have something happen before the patients get there, so the patients know to have high expectations of what's going to happen in your practice. And it's integrated online scheduling.
I think that's all of those are really important. And I think consumer behavior in particular, especially millennials and then younger, intend and expect to be able to transact through texting and through online portals. They do not want to, nor will they, pick up the phone to make appointments. They will find someone else who can accommodate their need to do that, because, and honestly, I'm kind of on the line between Gen X and millennial, and I would prefer online booking. I just don't have time. Like, I need to be able to go do something. If it's on my mind, check it off a box, be able to get it. If I have to get on a phone and it's going to take an extra 15, 20 minutes. And to be frank with you, the staffing challenges, not just for dentists, but for all service industries, you might get someone very nice and friendly, but you might as easily get someone who's curt and disingenuous and not overly welcoming, but it's a place you have to go because they provide a very specific niche service and you're going to have to go there. But now you have to deal with this terrible attitude for the next 15 minutes while you're trying to get through this murky water. So most consumers now absolutely expect to be able to appoint and pick providers through online portals and not through picking up the phone. You know what's hilarious? Most of my admin team are young, certainly younger than I am. And I have to remind them to text patients. Like, they want to pick up the phone and call them and see if they can come in 10 minutes earlier. They want to pick up the phone and do whatever. And I'm like, just text them. They don't want to talk to you. They'll probably say yes through text. They'll never call you back if you leave them a voicemail. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the other piece. Go ahead. The other piece.
Please you answer that, and then I have a comment after.
Yeah, no, and to add that, as you bring in the technology, it's got to be simple and easy to use.
Correct.
And there are all sorts of solutions out there. Some of them are practice, but our staffs push back on them because they're complicated or cumbersome.
Right.
And so like one of the things that was a real driver for us is it's got to be super user friendly. It's got to be that the staff is thanking you for getting this, not belly aching you as the doctor for adding this other thing as a headache.
Yeah. And going back to your original point about freeing up your team to do other tasks by allowing a lot of these online support systems to kind of handle themselves is, I tell everyone in the office that they are really the stewards of the customer experience for the people that are there. If there is someone on the phone and there is someone online that they're worrying about, they are second. The customer experience for the people that are in the practice right now is priority one. So any tasks that I can take away from the team that they don't have to worry about as far as online scheduling and online responses and things like that, that allows them to make the customer experience that much better for the people that are there. That's the people that are in my office. That is their number one priority. So anything we can do to free up that extra time spent, in Cyberland or wherever on the phones, anything you can think of is so much better spent making the experience amazing for the patients that are in your practice.
Yeah, it's I love talking to you guys because you sort of validate what we're doing. That and I like y'all. So it's interesting. And as
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah, it's really fun. Well, which one of y'all said that? No. So
be Stuart Smalley.
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked about the online scheduling piece for people coming to your website, which is a no-brainer. But what we're doing is we're growing the ecosystem because we're making it easy for patients from other places to get into your practice, right? But they're not people who don't belong in your practice. These are your already existing partners. For example, Align, if they were to be partnering with Intelibly, the people who are going to that website value what they have to offer, and you're the person who delivers it. Maybe it's a toothpaste, whatever it is. So it's really been sort of a fun adventure to be on in this. The final piece that I'll say is I'm a dentist. So my customers aren't really, the way we're making money isn't really on the doctor's back. Our customers are the CPG companies, the other stakeholders, but we need the doctors to be connected. So through Dinks, everybody can get a free, can connect to us and should connect to Intelibly at no cost. But the other thing is, because you're a hard negotiator, Chad Duplantis, so we've made it so that every dentist through Dinks can get our integrated online scheduling tool for, I may say this wrong, I think it's $600 off for the year plan. And remember, we've already priced it so that we're not making a lot of money on it. But for the first year, because we're looking to get to scale through Dinks, they're getting $600 off with the annual subscription. Okay. And if they don't want the integrated online scheduling tool, Schedule Connect, which we're releasing the upgrades, we're not going to raise the price on that if they come in through the Dinks slug, y'all have what it is. They can get Schedule Widget at the old price, but I would really tell you, get Schedule Connect, be current, and be leading your dental community.
Very cool.
And one thing that I want to say about both of these is that for the Schedule Widget through Intelibly, it is by far the preferred method of communication for my team when you have a web inquiry. There's a lot of information, and quite frankly, we're talking amongst dentists here, you can tell a lot about a patient through that tool itself. There's a lot of people that take the time to describe their problem, take the time to describe what's going on. There's people that plug in there and put need teeth yanked. Literally, that was one that we got this weekend. And so, you can tell a lot about the type of patient. It doesn't mean that we reach out to every single patient that calls in, but you can determine what type of practice that you have and what type of practice that you want to continue to have. And you can find the best fit for help those patients find the best fit, or you can receive them into your practice. Additionally, what I want to say on the scheduling tool, nobody is going to move your cheese and start crapping in your schedule. You can choose the appointments on a regular basis that you want to offer to potential new patient inquiries. So your whole practice is not going to be filled with all of the online scheduling. I do believe at some point in time, we'll all get there to where that's going to be the way we're headed. I mean, That's the way it is for getting your car maintained and doing a number of things. But at this point in time, you can pick and choose. Like, we have 2 hours open Tuesday of next week. I don't know that we're going to fill it. Let's go ahead and throw it out there. So you can put those blocks on there as to what you have and choose what you open up to these prospective patients.
Yeah. And on top of that, if you fill it with our Schedule Connect tool, if you fill it in your schedule, we can see it on your schedule and we won't double book. So it's pretty slick.
Nice. Yeah.
I was going to share one of the best practices we share with almost everyone we talk about, and we give them credit for it. But last year, Chad told me that they had a process when he would get a notification from a patient that they requested an appointment, he or someone from his office would call the patient and say, hey, we saw we got a notification from you and it's Saturday. We just wanted to make sure it was okay if someone calls you back Monday, because if it's an emergency, we want to make sure you're well cared for. And at that point, you said nobody had said, oh, yes, come in today. Everybody was okay with Monday, but it cemented that relationship right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
It's immediate gratification, and that's what people are looking for when they're seeking you. And if they don't hear from somebody, they're going to go to the next person, and a lot of times they won't even respond to your contacting them. But if somebody comes in, calls with an emergency, or I say calls, I guess that's the old adage. But if somebody connects with us with an emergency via Intelibly app, and it's over the weekend and we're not going to be in the office for a few days, we will actually leave a phone number for them to contact us that weekend if it's truly an emergency, and we'll find somebody that can see them. So
last thing I was going to say, if I can, the onboarding, when a practice joins with us, the outside most effort it requires is 2 30-minute phone calls, one with your technology and one training your staff to do it. However, a lot of people connect through Schedule widget and they get an email, and there's actually no onboarding training necessary, although we do have domestic support for all of our users.
And it's such a simple tool. I mean, I started obviously with the most simple, your first offering schedule widget, but even that, I was just amazed at it because it's so simple. Even I'd be away lecturing somewhere, I'd get a little email that says so-and-so has requested an appointment. They're filling out some information in there. And honestly, it took a minute for me to just get back on there and say, hey, this is Dr. Horowitz. Got your request. We're going to get with you on Monday. Is there anything, kind of like what Chad did, anything that you need there, anything that I can help you with, or any questions? And most of them never even responded back to that. But that's the difference, because we're in a society now that people will go online, they'll find a grouping of, potential sources for whatever service it is that they're seeking, and they'll put email feelers or they'll put inquiries into a lot of people. And it's those little touch points that are the differentiator between who a patient chooses to end up going to. And so it took me a minute. Like, I could be anywhere. I could be sitting in the middle of a lecture and I would see these things come through, and it was just so easy to say, hey, this is Dr. Horowitz. Thanks for looking into our practice. Are there any questions I can answer? If not, someone will be getting back with you on Monday. If you need something before, let us know. Such an easy thing to do. Such a simple product at that point. I love what you've done with it to enhance it, but even at the most basic, what a way to differentiate your practice amongst other practices.
No, thank you guys very much. And Dinks people out there like me, sign up, takes about 90 seconds. So there's a link, and there's really no reason not to be using this. Actually, there's lots of reasons you should be using it. And one of the main reasons is the guy down the street's doing it. So you've got to have digital engagement. Yeah. No one's calling restaurants. No one's calling airlines. It's all done online now.
So I should stop calling the airlines.
Yeah. I call Southwest Airlines when I have to change my flight. That's when I call.
Well, because they make you it when you want to change your seat too.
Oh yeah. I think I have status. I think I'm going to be good. I think I'm going to be good on that.
With Southwest?
With Southwest?
Yeah. Are they starting to do seat assignments?
They are starting to do
really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
How's that going over?
I don't know that it's started yet, but they have a whole new they're about to undergo some serious changes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, we're at 9:30. Eric, as always, thank you for what you've done for dentistry, not just from your perspectives in clinical dentistry, but going back and some of these great products that are just so well thought out and have done so much for so many of our practices. Just great to see you again. And I'll let Chad close us out, but really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, as I close, I just want to once again just piggyback on what Jeff said. Eric, thank you. You've done such a great job for dentistry, and we're so honored to be able to call you friend, and just really look forward to working together with you, with Intelibly, with the scheduling tool, with the office contact tool. There's just so many things that you're offering, and you've got the dental practice in mind, which a lot of people don't. But as we close, I think this is relevant to tonight. There was a social media post today that kind of piqued my interest, and quite frankly, it kind of pissed me off, but I'm going to close with it anyways, because there was a snarky post in one of the groups today asking how much money these Facebook groups make. And I found it kind of interesting because I think that we're all in dentistry, we're all in business to make a living. But I will tell you one thing, but that for the past 4 years, we have done this out of the goodness of our heart. We've shared education, we've shared politics, we've shared trends in dentistry, and we haven't made a freaking penny that has supported anything in our personal lives. Yeah. Everything that's been made through Dentist in the Know has gone back into Dentist in the Know. And I can say that
categorically,
God as my witness, that is the case.
Without a doubt.
I think that ultimately our goal would be to be profitable, but our main goal is to bring you all relevant information that's informative, that's educational, and that's current. And we will always continue to do that, and we will do it with integrity, and we will do it with honesty. So if you think we're out there to turn you on to a product that we wouldn't use in our office just to make a dime off of it, it ain't going to happen.
That ain't us.
That being said, I'm going to turn it back on tonight's show and say every damn one of us will use Intelibly and what Eric does because we believe in it and we've vetted it and we know it works. And we'll continue to do that in Dentist in the Know. So everybody.
And this was a non-sponsored show.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yes, this is not a sponsored show.
Have a good one.
Have a great night. Put your fingers down.
Oh, like a charging Longhorn.
They just live rent.
They do the wolf pack.
They just live rent free, baby.
What happened?